It's been a minute since I gave a real update on the whole David situation. Back in the beginning, there were updates flying everywhere, but then everything went quiet for months and people had no clue what was happening behind the scenes. It felt like the case just froze. But in early April, everything changed fast. David was arrested on the 16th, and now more details are finally coming out. Court records, public reports, what was said behind closed doors. We're getting into all of it. As of this week, there's a lot more information about what happened between David and Celeste Ravis. Before the arrest, people only knew that on September 8th, 2025, 14-year-old Celeste Ravis was found in the front trunk of David's Tesla. When that story first hit last year, people were shocked and saying, "No way this man is on tour. Someone probably stole his car and did this." A lot of fans were in straight-up denial. But as more time passed, things started looking way more serious. People began saying, "Wait, he has been seen with Celeste." People close to her claimed they were in a relationship. She reportedly had a tattoo that said David on her finger. Social media accounts were backing up the connection. They had even been seen on stream together. Once people started putting those pieces together, the mood online changed fast. People were saying, "Oh, I feel sick, he might have really done this." Then the internet went full detective mode. People started looking at old song lyrics, music videos, and interviews with a whole different mindset. Suddenly, things that once seemed normal started feeling dark and strange. A lot of people became deeply uncomfortable with the things he was saying, the way he acted, and even the kind of image he pushed. Even his tour had people talking. The whole theme was a funeral. That made people feel like something was seriously off, especially with what they saw as his obsession with death. After months of silence and no answers, people online were begging for any kind of update because they were convinced this man was guilty. So much old content had been dug up, and the public was locked in on every detail. Then finally, on April 16th this year, David was arrested and held without bail. He pleaded not guilty, and his legal team pushed to move things along faster. But then it was revealed there are 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. That is massive, and it shows just how deep this whole situation really goes.
Respectfully, to produce discovery at the earliest opportunity.
Your Honor, as I indicated to counsel, there's approximately 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. Moreover, in order to obtain the transcripts from a grand jury investigation, counsel has to file a motion. She knows the way the system works.
40 terabytes of discovery is absolutely wild. If you don't know how huge that is, just picture this. It could equal around 8 to 10 million photos depending on quality. Or think about 8 to 10,000 full-length movies. It could even be close to 20 million songs. Seriously, that is not a normal amount of evidence. That kind of number shows just how massive this case really is and how much investigators are digging through. As more details started coming out, court documents released on Wednesday gave a closer look at what was said during the preliminary hearing. This is where things got even heavier. As people already knew, David's Tesla had been sitting parked on the street before it was eventually towed away. 3 days after it was towed, it was reported because of the strong smell coming from the vehicle. That part alone had already shocked people, but the new documents added even more. The court records said that surveillance video and other evidence confirmed that David was the last person to drive that Tesla on July 29, 2025, right before he left Los Angeles for his concert tour. That detail hit hard. In the beginning, some people were still defending him. They were saying maybe someone else had access to the car, maybe someone moved it, maybe someone else was involved. But according to the surveillance footage, he was the last one behind the wheel. That shut down a lot of those early excuses fast. Another detail from the newly released documents made a lot of people feel sick. Investigators said they still have not recovered all of Celeste's remains. Reports mentioned that the finger with the tattoo of David's name on it was not found, and her pinky was also missing. That detail made the case even more disturbing for people following it online. The documents also stated that he first met her when she was 11 and had continued seeing her when she was older. At one point, her family reportedly became so concerned that they filed a missing persons report. They checked her phone records and found his number, which led LAPD to contact him and ask about where she was. According to the report, he told them he did not know she was younger and claimed they had only met once. Then just 2 days later, she returned home. Another accusation in the case says he allegedly paid one of her classmates $1,000 so he could keep communicating with her after her family had taken her phone away. That part raised even more questions and made the situation look even darker. Court documents say the defendant drove to Lake Elsinore and paid a junior high school student in the victim's class $1,000 to give her a cell phone that he had purchased so they could keep talking. That detail alone had people stunned. According to the reports, throughout 2024, she spent a huge amount of time with him. This included summer weekends at his home in the Hollywood Hills and trips with him to Las Vegas, London, and Texas to meet his family. And honestly, the part about meeting his family shocked a lot of people the most. People were asking, how does someone bring such a young girl around family like that and nobody says anything? Did nobody question it? Did nobody think it looked wrong? That detail made people online look at the whole situation in an even darker way because it suggested this wasn't some hidden secret. It looked way bigger than that. The documents also said they had text conversations about their private relationship, pregnancy, the process of ending a pregnancy, and the use of Plan B. That made the case even heavier because it showed just how serious and complicated the relationship had allegedly become behind closed doors. Later in the court filings, prosecutors got into what they say happened on April 23, 2025, the day they believe he took her life. According to the case, the night before, David and Celeste had a long argument. Prosecutors say she was threatening to expose their relationship and reveal the way he had been involved with her. They argue that this became a major turning point, because if that information came out, it could have destroyed both his image and his career. At that time, his album was about to be released, and prosecutors say that gave him a motive. They believe he was desperate to stop her from speaking publicly because it could have ruined everything he had built. In the documents, it specifically says, described in detail in their text messages, the messages revealed the victim's jealousy over defendant's relationships with other women, as defendant led her to believe they had a future together. She became extremely upset and threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with defendant to end his career and destroy his life. Defendant's first studio album was due to be released on April 25, 2025. He had an emerging multi-million-dollar career already in progress. He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable. That statement gave prosecutors a clear picture of what they believe the motive was. Fear of losing fame, money, and his public image. They are arguing that protecting his career became more important to him than anything else. The timeline they presented is also very specific. Around 8:40 p.m. on April 23, 2025, prosecutors say David sent an Uber to bring Celeste from her Lake Elsinore home to his residence. They were reportedly texting before and during the ride, and the Uber dropped her off at his Hollywood Hills home around 10:10 p.m. Then comes one of the strangest parts. At around 10:30 p.m., David allegedly sent text messages asking where she was. Prosecutors believe those "Where are you?" messages were sent after he had already taken her life and were meant to create confusion and make it seem like he had no idea where she was. They say it was part of an attempt to cover his tracks. According to the case, he then immediately drove to Santa Barbara County to get rid of her belongings and destroy evidence. Prosecutors claim he returned early the next morning, April 24th, because he had a radio interview he needed to handle that same day. A lot of people online thought this must have been the Zach Sang interview because it was posted only a few days later. But that theory doesn't fully line up. That interview had actually been filmed earlier. Zach mentioned during the interview that David's birthday had just happened, and his birthday is March 28th. He was also talking about preparing for Coachella, and by April 24th, Coachella had already passed. So that interview was not filmed right after the alleged crime like many people first believed.
I'm practicing new flips for Coachella.
What?
New flips.
You're gonna flip?
I am.
Wait, shit.
Yeah.
Really?
So I'm practicing I gotta see the stage. I wanna see the stage so bad because I'm about to be climbing on top of things and flipping off and stuff.
So the Zach Sang interview was not the radio interview he did just hours after allegedly committing the crime. A lot of people online assumed it was, but the timeline just doesn't match up. That interview had clearly been filmed earlier, which means there was another interview happening during that period that investigators are pointing to. According to prosecutors, the same day he drove back from Santa Barbara, he also texted Celeste's phone, supposedly as part of trying to cover his tracks. That part had people seriously confused. If he had already arranged the Uber that brought her to his house, what exactly was he trying to hide with those messages? People were asking, what was the plan there? It just made the whole situation look even stranger. They also say he posted on Instagram that same day and even appeared on Twitch streams like everything was normal. On top of that, prosecutors claim he also ordered a shovel to his home through Postmates. That detail really made people stop and stare because it sounded straight out of a movie. Then the very next day, his album dropped. He posted about it on Instagram, had an album release party, traveled to New York City, and even performed at a pop-up event where he got emotional on stage. For many people watching all of this unfold later, that moment hit very differently.
The songs on this project, like, 100% just, I've never been able to express myself the way I do with this project, man. I never cried, bro. Y'all showed up for me, bro. Like, it's so crazy, bro. Like, music is so awesome. You guys are so awesome. God is so awesome. Like, bro.
On May 1st, prosecutors say he ordered 2 chainsaws, a body bag, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a blue inflatable pool to his Hollywood Hills home. Even reading that list makes people stop cold. Those are not normal purchases, and it instantly made the case feel even darker. What made it stranger was that the order was placed under the name Victoria Mendez. People were confused about why he would even use a different name when the credit card still traced back to him and the delivery was going straight to his own house. Like, what was the plan there? The address was still his, the payment still connected to him. Amazon was not exactly going to forget where that package went. That detail had people saying the cover-up attempt made no sense at all. Then on May 8th, prosecutors say he returned to the same area in Santa Barbara. And it didn't stop there. He allegedly went back again on May 31st. Those repeat trips raised even more questions because investigators believe that location was tied to efforts to get rid of evidence. Then in January of this year, some of Celeste's belongings were reportedly found in that same Santa Barbara location. That discovery made everything hit even harder. It connected that place back to her in a way that was impossible for people to ignore. Another disturbing part of the case is that for weeks, friends and people he worked with reportedly noticed a strong smell coming from his home and his car. Imagine that. People around him were noticing something was seriously wrong. But it wasn't until the end of July, right before a tour, that he parked his car around the corner from his home and just left it there. The car stayed there until September, when everything finally came to light. A lot of people have wondered what he was telling friends, co-workers, or anyone who came by his house about that smell. What explanation could he have possibly given? Because according to reports, she was not found until September, and by then, the damage was already done. There is just so much evidence pointing back to him, and some of the details are heartbreaking. One text message they shared from Celeste to him said, "All we do is have and just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself." That message hit a lot of people hard because it sounded like someone young trying to make sense of a situation that was way bigger than her. She was just a girl who cared about someone she should never have been involved with in the first place. The age difference alone made people deeply uncomfortable, and many felt that line had already been crossed long before this case exploded publicly. People also kept pointing out that others around him seemed to know about her. His family had met her, people in his circle had seen her, and that raised even more questions. A lot of people believe excuses will come later, like saying they didn't know her age, but many online are not buying that. They look at photos and say it was obvious she was not an adult. When all of this gets mixed in with old videos, lyrics, and the image he was putting out publicly, people started looking at everything in a completely different way. A lot of people said it felt like he had this dark obsession with death. And once they started going back through his old work, they couldn't unsee it. The funeral themes, the lyrics, the visuals in the music videos, it all started looking way different after everything came out. People weren't just calling it weird anymore, they were calling it disturbing. Someone on TikTok even said, "This man just needs to be locked away forever," because in their eyes, life in prison still wouldn't feel like enough. That's how angry and disgusted people were after reading the court documents and seeing how deep this case goes. It made a lot of people physically sick, and honestly, it's hard to blame them. A lot of people also started asking how he became famous in the first place. How were people going to these shows and not feeling like something was off? The funeral theme of the tour alone had people side-eyeing everything later. And those music videos? If you go back and watch them now, they hit completely differently. Before all of this came out, a lot of people had never even noticed it, but now it feels impossible to ignore. That's why so many people reject the whole separate the art from the artist argument in this case. People are saying you can't separate it because the art itself is part of what made everyone start asking questions. The lyrics, the visuals, the interviews, it all became part of the bigger picture. To many people, it doesn't feel separate at all. It feels connected, and that makes it even more unsettling. As of right now, this is the latest information that has been made public. We still don't know exactly what will happen next for David, and there are still legal steps ahead, but this week gave the public a much clearer look at what prosecutors are arguing in court. Let me know what you guys think about all of this, because this whole case is honestly unbelievable. Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to like, comment, and share this video so more people can join the conversation. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys!